Have you ever stopped to think that even with so much technology, advanced science, and modern investigations, there are still mysteries no one has been able to solve? Books written in unknown languages, unexplained disappearances, codes that have challenged generations of experts. Today, here on Parallel Reality, I'm going to show you the 7 greatest unsolved mysteries of humanity. And let me warn you, for some of these mysteries, new discoveries have emerged that could change everything you thought you knew. So hold on tight and tell me at the end which of these mysteries messed with your mind the most.
Number 1. The Mystery of the Somerton Man. Australia, 1948. It was a cold December morning on the quiet Somerton beach. The sun had barely risen when 2 young people stumbled upon a secret that would puzzle the world for more than 7 decades. A man around 45 years old, wearing an elegant and impeccable suit, was found lying against the seawall as if resting after a long night. A half-finished cigarette, still lit moments earlier, rested on his collar. Who was this man? And why did his death carry the marks of an eternal enigma? The most intriguing part comes next. The body was found with no documents. No one knew who he was or where he had come from. Although the man appeared healthy, his autopsy revealed hidden horrors: an enlarged spleen, a destroyed liver, and blood mixed with a recently eaten pastry in his stomach. All signs pointing to poisoning. Witnesses claimed to have seen him the previous evening at sunset, weaving toward the sea. Around 7 o'clock, his arm reportedly dropped lifelessly. And then a suitcase was found, abandoned at the train station, filled with electricians' tools, imported wires, and clothing marked with a false name, Keane. Was it a clue or just a smokescreen? Months passed, and the coroner Cleland's report echoed like an unfinished verdict: death by poisoning. But by his own hand or someone else's? And this is where the case becomes even more enigmatic. A secret pocket was found sewn into his trousers, containing a tiny slip of paper with the words "Tamam shud," meaning "it is finished" in Persian. Following the investigation, police traced it back to an ancient book of poems, the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam, hymns to wine, love, and the finite nature of life. There was a copy found tossed inside an abandoned car near the beach, missing exactly that page. Inside it, a phone number and a hellish code. MRGOABD. MILAOI, WTFL. Lines of seemingly meaningless letters scrawled on the back cover. A spy cipher? A coded confession? Decades of cryptographers and even modern AI tried to crack the code. In vain. The phone number led to Jestin, a nurse who lived a few blocks from the beach. She had once given a copy of the Rubaiyat to a wartime lover, but when shown the man's photograph, Jestin murmured, "I know him," though she denied any involvement. Was it a love triangle? A Cold War secret with Soviet shadows hanging over Australia? After all the investigations, the police were no closer to the truth. Theories bloomed like fog. A double agent poisoned by traitors? A romantic who took his own life, quoting Khayyam in a final farewell? An engineer fleeing deaths and broken hearts? For 73 years, the Somerton Man remained a ghost. Until 2022. In that year, advancing technology pierced the dark, enigmatic veil surrounding the curious case of the Somerton Man. Exhumed from his anonymous grave, his DNA was finally identified. He was Carl Webb, 43, an electrician from Melbourne, born in 1905, divorced, childless, a quiet man who loved poetry and circuits. Family photos confirmed the match. In a mysterious twist, his ex-wife was linked, through tangled connections, to Justin. To this day, Carl Webb rests, but his enigma persists. What story lies behind the code found in a hidden pocket? Was the poisoning meant to end his life, or a painful cry of farewell? What was he doing in that place? Why was his suitcase abandoned? How were the women connected? And what was that code written inside the cover? A code not even experts have been able to decipher? A spy, a lover, or a poetic soul who chose the sea and a final cigarette as his last witnesses? The first case on our list shows that even the oldest mysteries still guard secrets of humanity.
Now, in our second case, imagine a book that has whispered secrets for more than 6 centuries, but in a language never before seen in the history of humanity. An ancient parchment volume filled with illustrations of fantastical herbs, hybrid plants never observed on our planet, zodiac diagrams, and nude women inside tubes connected like veins in a gigantic body, or apparently in strange mystical baths. And the text? A kind of alien alphabet, composed of 25 fluid symbols, repeating patterns like a living language, yet completely indecipherable. This is the Voynich Manuscript, the book impossible to read. Discovered in the 20th century in a Jesuit monastery, but dated to around the year 1400, this book challenged emperors, masters of cryptography, and geniuses from many generations, and it continues to hide its secrets even from the most advanced artificial intelligences of modern times. Who wrote it? What does it hide? An elixir of life? The fountain of youth? Records of contact with extraterrestrial beings, or nothing more than medieval illusions? Perhaps we will never know the truth. This book has been at Yale University since 1969. In 2024, multispectral imaging revealed ancient attempts by Marshy, a ghost alphabet hidden on its first page. In 2025, a man claimed he had deciphered it using modern decoding techniques, revealing content about botany and spirituality. But like so many claims before, there is no evidence to validate his work. Will humanity ever uncover its secrets? Is it a grand medieval prank, laughing at humanity for taking it seriously even today? Or is it a 240-page book written in an alien language incomprehensible to humans, whose final message is that it is impossible to decipher? The Voynich Manuscript remains to this day one of humanity's greatest mysteries.
Number 3. Virginia, year 1800. Thomas J. Beale, a 27-year-old adventurer, led 30 men from St. Louis to New Mexico. Little did they know what awaited them. Thomas and his companions during their expedition stumbled upon a secret many would give their lives for. There, hidden in the wilderness, was a secret mine, and their fearless drive to explore the unknown led them to discover an unimaginable treasure. 2,921 pounds of gold, shining like the sun, and 5,100 pounds of silver, cold as the moon. The equivalent of nearly 4 tons of gleaming riches, a treasure valued at over $60 million today. After years of mining, Beale brought the treasure to Bedford County, Virginia, and buried it in an iron chest under the moonlight. But fate intervened, attacks by natives, and Thomas vanished. Before disappearing, he left a box with Robert Morris, an innkeeper in Lynchburg, along with the following words: "Keep this for 10 years. The key will come." In 1845, Morris finally opened the box, revealing the Beale Ciphers, 3 pages guarding the treasure of his friend Thomas, containing American cryptographic enigmas that consumed minds and lives for 2 centuries. They supposedly revealed the location of the chest filled with tons of jewels. After the box was opened, James Ward published a pamphlet sharing the story of Thomas Beale's treasure, promising to divide it with anyone who helped. Over the years, geniuses have gone mad over this mystery. Cryptography techniques, random excavations, even the Bible itself was used in attempts to decode the Beale ciphers. And surprisingly, one of them was deciphered. Cipher 1 revealed the location, Cipher 2 the contents and weight, and Cipher 3 the names of the heirs. Although the cipher that describes the contents of the chest has been solved, the ones revealing the location and the names of the heirs have never been deciphered with certainty. That's why the treasure's location and its rightful heirs remain a complete mystery. Many scholars and treasure hunters believe the Beale ciphers may be a hoax. Even though the decoded cipher works correctly, there is no concrete evidence that the treasure ever existed. Was all of this just an invention? Or is Beale's treasure still out there, waiting to be found? The Beale ciphers remain one of humanity's greatest unsolved mysteries.
Number 4. Our next mystery begins at the threshold between the 12th and 13th centuries. Polynesian navigators anchored on the most isolated island on the planet. With about 63 square kilometers of volcanic land and nearly 4,000 kilometers from the nearest continent, this is Rapanui, Easter Island. These mysterious explorers erected the eternal moai to honor their gods and created a unique writing system, rongorongo, or sung recitation. Written on wooden tablets made of toromiro, a sacred tree now extinct, rongorongo is written in multiple directions. Its text shifts between horizontal lines, vertical lines, and even zigzags. Its words dance like birds and waves, composed of stylized human figures, flying fish, and impossible plants. What do its lines sing? Secrets of creation? Royal records of ancient gods and forgotten peoples? Some say that the island itself, isolated from the world, gave life to this code, and that only its own people would be capable of deciphering it. And prepare yourself. What comes next is terrifying. Between 1862 and 1863, Peruvians enslaved the Rapanui people, taking 90% of the population. Only a few returned to their homeland, but they brought diseases with them, slowly erasing their history. In 1864, with the island weakened, Eugene Airo, accompanied by members of the Catholic Church, set foot on Rapanui, carrying with them the cultural extinction of its people. At this point in history, the Catholic Church imposed forced Christianity on the Rapanui and even burned the Toromiro tablets, which they called pagan idols. Today, only about 26 examples remain, scattered across museums around the world. For 160 years, cryptographers have tried to uncover its secrets, but in a mysterious way, the knowledge remains silent, as if protected by some kind of magic. In 1950, Thomas Barthel mapped 120 basic glyphs, and today, modern AIs test patterns in repeated, failed attempts to decode this ancient knowledge. A 2024 study suggests that some remaining tablets may contain lunar calendars.
The writings contained on these historic tablets are not just records, they are living memories of people who walked the earth long before us. The Rapanui people came close to extinction, with only about 100 individuals left in the world, and in an even more mysterious way, they rose from the ashes like a true phoenix, and their descendants still live on Easter Island today. Was it mere chance, or the work of a greater power? What secret knowledge still lives in the rare surviving Rongorongo tablets? What historical records were lost to the flames of the church? How were the Moai created? The Rapanui people and Easter Island continue to intrigue the entire world to this day.
Number 5. In 1937, a courageous woman dared to conquer the sky, Amelia Earhart, the queen of aviation. Amelia and her Lockheed Electra broke historic records. In 1932, she became the first woman to fly solo across the Atlantic Ocean, a feat that transformed her into a symbol of courage and female independence. Between 1935 and 1937, at Purdue University, Amelia inspired other women to dream big and believe in themselves. But her dream was even greater. Amelia Earhart wanted to be the first woman to fly around the world. On March 17, 1937, she planned a 29,000-mile global circumnavigation, departing from Oakland, California, flying through Hawaii, Asia, and Africa. On her first attempt, during takeoff from Luke Field in Hawaii on March 20th, her Lockheed Electra suffered a collapsed nose wheel and the journey had to be halted for repairs. But that didn't stop the queen of aviation. With the plane repaired, Amelia and her team took off again on May 20th, 1937, beginning their historic journey. After flying roughly 35,000 kilometers and having crossed nearly every habitable continent on the planet, they landed the Electra in Lae, Papua New Guinea. It was the final stretch. They had completed 75% of the journey. Only the Pacific Ocean remained. But this was the longest and most dangerous leg of the entire expedition, with about 4,000 kilometers of open, treacherous ocean. Despite its name, the Pacific Ocean is the most violent and unpredictable of all oceans. It is home to the Ring of Fire, the planet's largest belt of volcanoes and earthquakes, with frequent eruptions and massive tsunamis. It is the stage for typhoons, cyclones, and tropical storms, often with powerful lightning strikes and winds reaching up to 300 kilometers per hour, sometimes even more destructive than the famous Atlantic hurricanes. On top of that, its powerful and unpredictable currents can carry huge debris for thousands of kilometers. Dense fog can reduce aerial visibility to nearly zero, and suffocating heat makes navigation extremely difficult, especially at that time. As if that weren't enough, the Pacific covers 1/3 of Earth's surface and is home to the greatest diversity of sharks in the world, from small species to gigantic predators. Despite their reputation, shark attacks on humans are rare, but the danger is real. The Pacific is so vast that all continents could fit inside it. It is also home to the infamous Point Nemo, the most remote and isolated place on the entire planet. This place is so unreachable that even satellite debris falls there and is never recovered. It is practically untouched by humans, and even today, no one dares travel there. Reaching Point Nemo is a life or death gamble. If something goes wrong, no one will rescue you in time. That means Earhart and Noonan were thousands of kilometers away from everything in a terrifying scenario with no points of reference. In the 1930s, aerial navigation depended on radios and compasses. A tiny route error, a miscalculation, or a radio failure was enough to ensure you were never found again. On July 2nd of that same year, the crew was down to Earhart and Fred Noonan.
Little did those brave adventurers know the unimaginable horrors awaiting them. On their final day, the last stretch of their journey, Amelia and Fred took off from Lae, Papua New Guinea, en route to tiny Howland Island, a minuscule dot lost in the largest ocean on Earth. Hitting that target at that time would be like hitting a needle in the middle of a hurricane. Earhart and her navigator lifted off, continuing their journey. Approximately 2 hours after takeoff, they realized they were having trouble locating the island. The USCGC Itasca, positioned near their destination, received the following message from Amelia.
We're flying at 1,000 feet. It looks like we're flying over you, but we can't see the island.
Then the radio failures began. About 15 minutes later, the Itasca could no longer understand the transmissions, and contact with the aircraft was fading. Then came the final message.
We're lost. We can't locate the island. We're running out of fuel.
After that, a devastating silence took over the radio. No more transmissions, no more contact. Amelia Earhart and her journey partner, Fred Noonan, vanished without a trace and were never seen again.
Number 6. California, December 20th, 1968. This was the day when David Faraday and Betty Lou Jensen, two teenagers aged 16 and 17, saw headlights approaching their parked car, followed by .22 caliber bullets that silenced them forever. 5 cold, quiet shots, no witnesses. This was the day the serial killer known as the Zodiac Killer emerged. 6 months later, on July 4th, 1969, fireworks echoed in the sky while Michael McGough and Darlene Ferrin bled through their final moments. And the killer himself called the police, saying, "I committed the crimes." Yet Michael survived, later describing him as a demon with short hair and empty eyes. On September 27th, Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Shepard, innocent college students, were attacked by a man about 6 feet tall, wearing a black hood marked with the Zodiac symbol. He tied them up and stabbed them with ritualistic fury. In October, Paul Stein, a taxi driver, was shot in the head at point-blank range. Witnesses saw the killer collecting the victim's blood from the sidewalk, keeping it as some kind of macabre trophy. The serial killer claimed 5 confirmed victims, though he himself boasted that he had taken 37 lives. The Zodiac sent letters directly to the police, mocking them, playing games with ciphers and encrypted codes, challenging and terrorizing the public. Some of those codes were deciphered. In them, the killer wrote chilling lines such as, "I like killing because it is fun," and "You are too stupid to catch me." Even today, his letters continued to be studied and decoded. Inspectors Dave Toschi and Bill Armstrong hunted ghosts, investigating nearly 2,500 suspects. Arthur Lee Allen, whose home was filled with suspicious items, including a Zodiac wristwatch, became the strongest suspect, yet DNA testing eventually cleared him. The Zodiac Killer remains an unfinished circle, a code that mocks history and the authorities. So who was this man? What happened to him? Could he still be alive, walking among us? The Zodiac case still instills fear in humanity to this very day.
Number 7. February 1959. Northern Ural Mountains, Russia. 10 experienced mountaineers, led by 23-year-old Igor Dyatlov, set out to explore a wild and remote mountain range. Stretching nearly 2,500 kilometers, battered by violent winds, sudden storms, and temperatures dropping below -40 degrees, this range cuts across western Russia from north to south.
It's known as Kholat Syakhl, better known as the Mountain of the Dead. According to the indigenous Mansi people, 5 hunters mysteriously died on this mountain long ago. Because of that, they believe the area is cursed and avoided at all costs. Everything begins on January 23, 1959, when 10 students and engineers aged 20 to 38 from the Sverdlovsk Polytechnic Institute embark on a 300-kilometer expedition across the ridge. Rated as a Category 3 route, the hardest level, this trail requires experience in mountaineering, storm navigation, survival skills, and deep snow traversal. The group was highly skilled. Many of them had completed similar expeditions before, which makes what happened even more mysterious. On the 8th day, Yuri Yudin abandons the journey due to health issues. Little did he know that this decision would save his life. On January 31st, the team sets up camp on an exposed slope of Kholat Syakhl, diverting from Mount Otorten due to harsh weather. And this is where things get strange. Why would 9 experienced mountaineers choose to camp in such an exposed, wind-blasted area? On February 1st, with 30-kilometer-per-hour gusts, total darkness, and extreme cold, the group was trapped in a true frozen hell. Around 11 p.m., something inexplicable happens. The hikers panic. They tear the tent open from the inside out, fleeing barefoot and desperate, running 1.5 miles down toward a ravine in a catastrophic weather. But why? What could make 9 veteran mountaineers panic and run blindly into the night? On February 20th, the search began, and only on the 26th, 25 days after their disappearance, their campsite was found. The tent was slashed open, food, lanterns, and equipment untouched. Outside, barefoot footprints led toward the forest. Under a tree, Yuri Doroshenko and Yuri Krivonishchenko were found in strange conditions. Their bodies were half naked, hands burned, likely from attempting to start a fire. Their cause of death? Hypothermia. Farther ahead, Zina Kolmogorova, Rustem Slobodin, and the group leader, Igor Dyatlov, were found frozen in poses of agony. But the remaining 4 were still missing. 3 months later, after the thaw, Ludmila Dubinina, Semyon Zolotarov, Alexander Kolovatov, and Nikolai Thibaut Drignol were discovered in horrifying condition. Prepare yourself, the following description is sensitive. Semyon Zolotarov had a crushed skull. Alexander and Nikolai had massive internal injuries with no external wounds. And Ludmila Dubinina was found with broken ribs, missing eyes, lips, and tongue, and parts of her face and nose severely damaged. On top of that, their skin had an orange tint, and their clothing contained traces of radiation. Investigator Lev Ivanov closed the case as the result of an unknown, irresistible force. The case was locked away until 1990, when Ivanov finally admitted that he had been pressured by military authorities to ignore reports from local residents who had seen strange orange spheres in the sky during the same period. In 2019, the case was reopened with new hypotheses: avalanche or a catastrophic storm? Then, in 2021, a study published in Nature Communications presented a plausible explanation: a slab avalanche, a compact plate of snow that breaks off and slides slowly over the tent. Small, silent, but powerful enough to cause severe injuries and absolute panic. Recently, 2024 images confirmed exactly this type of slide occurring in the area, reinforcing the theory. But questions remain. Why did the group panic so violently? Why were they found in such drastically different states? And how does an avalanche explain radiation and the strange lights in the sky? A force of nature? An unknown creature? A secret military experiment? or something far darker? The final case on our list remains unsolved and surrounded by mystery.
If you enjoyed the video, leave a like and subscribe to support the channel. Know a case or mystery you'd like to see here? Tell me in the comments. Thanks for watching. See you on the next journey.